Question. Hi Kim. I've heard you say in several of your videos that rock music lowers your energy field. I was hoping you could elaborate on that. There's no doubt to me that some rock music does, especially harder stuff. Rock music is a very broad genre that ranges in intensity. There are a lot of bands and artists that write songs about peace and love and even spirit. Okay, so I'm not an expert on all the different genres of rock music, so I'm not in any way, I'm not lumping it all together and saying it's all bad. What we can say is two things. There is a purely energetic aspect of music, and then there's a what we might call meaning aspect, right? So you have a song. There's the music, there's the beat, and it moves energy. And as you listen to the music, you're not just listening to it with your physical ears, you are listening to it with your emotional body, your mental body, your identity body. In other words, all of your four energy bodies are being affected by the music. So you have the view that is known in many spiritual teachings. You have the 7 chakras, the main chakras, right? And you have also in many spiritual teachings that there's a natural energy flow through the chakras. In Eastern teachings talk about the Kundalini, which starts at the base chakra, the lowest chakra, and then rises up, and that's the key to spiritual growth. You can also have teachings that talk about the energy enters the heart chakra and then enlightens the other chakras. But the point is they pretty much all talk about the natural flow is that the energy flows up. Well, there are some forms of music, some forms of sound even, that causes the energies to go down and be concentrated in the base chakra. And some Ascended Master teachings talk about there's the syncopated beat, where the normal or the older beat used in older music was the 3/4 or 3/4, and the 6/8 is the syncopated beat, and the syncopated beat is what pushes the energies down and concentrates them there. So you can say this, you can understand this rationally, but what does understanding do for you? You have to feel it. So you have to listen to music, and then you can train your ability, if you don't have it already, you can train your ability to sense where are the energies flowing. Is the energy being pushed down into my base chakra? Is it being concentrated in the base chakra? Is it, for example, being expressed as sexual desire? I know there are some people who will say, I feel energized when listening to rock music. Yes, but here's where you have to then step a little bit deeper and understand how the chakras work. The chakras are basically valves in your energy field. And that means that they are two-way. So the chakras, as the energy comes down from your I Am Presence, a chakra can open the valves. You're talking about petals, and each chakra has a certain number of them. It can open the valves and let the energy out, and that's how you express your creativity, basically how you do anything. But the chakras can also go, or the valves can also go the other way and let energy in. So the key here is, either way, it can feel energizing or even pleasurable. Because what feels pleasurable is that the energy moves through the chakra. And so what can happen in some forms of music is that they force the valves in one of your chakras or several of your chakras open, and energy is sucked out. Or they force them in and energy is projected in. But either way can feel energizing in the short run, right? And this is comparable to you drink a cup of coffee and you feel energized. But After that, your energies drop. After the body has used the caffeine, your energy level drops. And everybody feels this, unless as soon as they start feeling it dropping, they take another cup of coffee, right? And the same thing with drugs or alcohol or this or that. So what I have explained in several videos is that we have the 4 levels of the material universe. And there are beings, they're not self-aware, but they are like unself-aware, but still conscious, that exist in, for example, the emotional realm. And there's a lower part of the emotional realm called the astral plane, which is almost like a hellish place. And there are beings there who can only exist when they steal energy from people who are in physical embodiment. And one of the ways they steal energy is to force the chakras either to open outward or inward. Now, it sounds counterintuitive. They can steal energy from forcing the chakras to go in, but they do this on a temporary basis because they energize you so you engage in a certain activity, and then they suck. After that, they suck the energy out. So in other words, a cup of coffee can give you a temporary energy high, but after that, you lose more energy than you gained from the coffee. So that the beings there in the emotional realm, they can give you some energy, but then they suck out more than they gave you, so they have a net gain, and you have a net loss. And there are many ways they do this. As I said, many activities are actually designed to steal your energy. And music is just one of them. And some rock music definitely has that effect. Now, so this is the sort of the purely energetic effect. And you can see that some rock music, right now I'm especially thinking about techno, it's this very heavy beat. It's actually meant to overwhelm your energy field and your chakras. It almost puts you in a hypnotic state. Now, I haven't listened to this very much, but you watch a TV show and you see people that are in this club where they play this music, and you can see that people seem to be hypnotized by the music. And so this is obviously also a state where you can say, first of all, energy can be stolen from you, or energy can be projected into you that then has an effect. Because it's a state where you're not consciously aware of what's happening. So it's sort of, in a sense, bypassing your conscious awareness and your conscious will and having an effect on you. It's putting you into this, like a hypnotic state where you can say a hypnotist can put you into hypnosis, into trance, and then plant suggestions in your mind. And this then leads me to the other aspect of music, which is the meaning aspect, where a song has lyrics. And so if you look at some of these song lyrics, I haven't even looked at them for many, many years, but I know there's some have very kind of dark, not very positive messages. But it's not just that, it's also that a lot of rock music, the instruments are so loud that you hear the voice, but you don't hear the words. And the effect of that is that these words go right into your subconscious mind and programs your subconscious mind. And that means it's just like you are hypnotized by a hypnotist. Your conscious will is bypassed, and whatever suggestions the hypnotist puts into your mind, you believe them. Your subconscious mind believes them. And it's the same thing that can happen with music, where you don't understand the lyrics. Your subconscious mind is programmed with the message in the words, because even though you consciously don't hear the words, your subconscious mind is taking them in. So this can reinforce subconscious cells you have. It can create other subconscious cells. I remember back when I was a teenager, most of my classmates in school and high school, they had a stereo, they had a big album collection with all these rock music that was there at the time. And I honestly think that some of them got opened up to drugs by listening to this rock music. Because a lot of them started smoking pot, and some of them went into heavier drugs. I even had from my elementary school class 3 boys that all died of overdoses, that grew up pretty much the same environment that I did. And they were all very heavily into rock music. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I think there are other psychological reasons, but I'm just saying I do think that some music can open you up to drugs, for example, or alcohol abuse, or promiscuous sex, or other activities that drain your energy. So this is something, you know, you can learn to discern. You can train your ability to sense where the energies go. And you can therefore evaluate the music. Rock music is a very broad genre that ranges in intensity. There are a lot of bands and artists that write songs about peace and love and even spirit. And so you can listen to the music, you can try to sense where the energies go. You can also get the lyrics on paper, listen to them. Is this something you want to take into your mind? Is this something you want to take into your subconscious mind? And what I will say also is that you can't just evaluate it based on the songs are about peace, love, or even spirit. Well, yes, but these forces that want to manipulate you, they are very adaptable to people. So you might look back at the first years of rock music and see that some of the songs were more negative in their message, and now they become more positive. But that's just because these forces have learned that people don't want the negative after a certain time. People get saturated with it. It gets to be enough, and then they come up with something new, and now it's being peace and love and this and that. But even those that talk about peace and love, they still have an effect on you. I think back to some of the Beatles songs. Love is all you need, right? But this still can have a subconscious effect. And you basically, it's just not rock music, it's any music. You need to evaluate what is the message you're taking in. And does it actually reinforce a subconscious self I have, and makes it harder for me to overcome it? Or does it create something entirely new? I mean, you can say that, I've talked in many of my videos about the duality consciousness, right? And in the duality consciousness, always the two extremes. So there can be the purely negative, clearly almost satanic rock that's projecting a completely dark message. But there can also be the lovey-dovey, wonderful, positive, seemingly messages. But they can both have the effect of stealing your energy, programming your subconscious mind. So it's really something you need to feel. You need to develop that. And that's why, the entire idea of the Ascended Master teachings and the teachings I'm giving on my YouTube channel is to help you individually raise your discernment, because you connect to the one mind, to your higher self. And therefore you have a frame of reference that's from outside Earth, from outside the duality consciousness. And that allows you to evaluate, so that when you are exposed to music, for example, it just in a split second you can feel, oh, I don't want to take that in. You don't have to be negative about it. You don't have to be condemning. You don't have to say, oh, this is so bad. But you can just say, oh, I don't want to take that in. And then, of course, you move on.